Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate all of you joining the session today. Can anyone in the audience tell me what these numbers here represent? If you have an Azure estate that you're managing, these are the numbers. These are the numbers that you should be looking to reduce off of your cloud bill. My name is Mo Begawala. I am going to be, in this session, I'm going to go through a case study with you all on this client plus ES and show you how they save 34% on their cloud bill in 4 months. That's not even the best part. We are now projecting 50% savings for plus ES. So what are the key things that I want all of you to walk away from this session? Number one, how do you achieve better and more predictable financial outcomes managing your Azure estate? Number two, how do you manage risks on your cloud journey? Number three, how effective cloud management delivers transparency for cost, security, and governance. Little background on the client. The client is in the middle of their cloud journey, plus ES. It's an enterprise client. They have roughly 100 VMs in the cloud. Their cloud bill is roughly $75,000 a month. They're facing two key challenges. Number one, their cloud bill is above what they were initially projecting it to be. So they're running hotter than expected in the cloud. They had a business case that they're going to be running at a certain percentage. They're 30 to 40% hotter than that. Challenge number two, they're facing a very tough deadline where they have to exit their legacy infrastructure into the cloud. So those are two very, very tough deadlines. To migrate your legacy infrastructure into the cloud while not only managing costs, but lowering costs. That's where plus ES was. Their cloud costs were out of hand, and what they did is they reached out to Accenture for some help. We walked in, and we noticed a few things. First and foremost, plus ES is an enterprise that wasn't managing their cloud like an enterprise or how an enterprise should. There was no enterprise-grade cloud management platform to manage their Azure estate. So one of the first things we did is we plugged in their Azure estate into the Accenture Cloud Platform to provide them the governance and the management plane that they needed. Number two, we activated the cloud optimization service on their Azure estate to help them reduce their cloud bill. So when we took a look at their estate, we noticed that there were a few areas of opportunity. Number one was right sizing. So we noticed that they were over provisioned in the cloud. As a result, we were able to right size their VMs, and that helped reduce their bill. The second thing we did for them is we noticed that there was a lot of waste in their infrastructure. Zombie VMs, orphan storage. So what we did was we cleaned up the zombie VMs, and zombie VMs are essentially VMs that are running idle. No one's using them. However, they are generating costs, so we had to clean up that waste. Orphan storage is storage that's essentially sitting there unattached. No one's using it, but it's generating costs. So we cleaned up and cleared up that waste. The third thing that we did is we worked with their development team. We understood what their requirements were, and we put their VMs, their non-production VMs, on scheduled operations. What did that do for them? The benefit for them was that it reduced their cloud bill by 34%. That took us roughly 4 months to do. And again, the best part is we're projecting a total savings of 50%. Now the chart to my left here is a bit confusing. I know it's a little small, so I'll articulate it for you. Over here, we're at the end of February. Plus ES is running at peak. Their cloud bill is the highest that it was. Fast forward 4 months later, it's 34% less. So some of you in the audience may have an Azure estate or a cloud estate that you're managing. What are some of the key points that I want you to walk away with? If you have an Azure estate that's roughly 100 VMs, that's running at 60, 70, 80K per month, what should you be paying attention to? Number one, you should be actively managing and paying attention to your cloud bill. What you don't want to happen is at the end of the month, you get what we call bill shock. You get the cloud bill and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. We're supposed to be running at a lower run rate in the cloud. And if you don't pay attention to your cloud bill and you don't actively manage it, that's what's going to happen. There have been a number of clients that have called us, Accenture, and said, hey, Accenture, we can't make sense of our cloud bill. We don't know what's going on here. And we've had to walk in and help them out. What is the second thing that you all should be paying attention to? Ensure that you implement a tagging architecture that facilitates billing management and cost optimization. If you don't have the right tagging architecture in place from day one, you're setting yourself up for bad things. So we walked into a number of clients and they say, hey, Accenture, again, our cloud bill is out of whack. What do? Some of these clients are now running at $1 million a month, $2 million a month in the cloud. What we had to do was we had to undo all of the spaghetti, the ball of spaghetti that has been done. We had to undo all of that. Because if you don't have the right tagging architecture in place from day one, you're not going to be able to bill effectively. You're not going to be able to optimize effectively. Very critical to have the right tagging architecture in place. The third thing that you should be focused on is invest in the IP or invest in IP that focuses on cloud billing and optimization. And when I say IP, I mean talent, tooling, and methodology. There is a steep learning curve with establishing this IP and getting this IP into the organization. So make sure you're ready for that and you set aside the right budget and the right time for it. So full disclosure, ES Plus is a Prime client. I just want to quickly touch on what Accenture Prime is. Accenture Prime is an end-to-end cloud management package as a service that delivers better and more predictable financial outcomes for our clients. And there are a few key objectives that it delivers: true capacity on demand. But for the purpose of Plus ES in this case study, it helps our clients lower their TCO of operating in the cloud by 20 to 40% while providing them enhanced flexibility. Back to Plus ES. What are the 4 key things that Plus ES did to help them drive the savings of 34% that we talked about? Number 1, they integrated their Azure Estate into an enterprise-grade, robust CMP or cloud management platform. The second thing they did was they activated the cloud optimization service that highlighted the opportunities that existed within their cloud infrastructure to help them realize the cost savings. The third thing they did was they enabled CMS or cloud management services. And by cloud management services, I'm talking about antivirus, patching, OS administration, backup, and security. Accenture knows a thing or two about CMS. I think we all are familiar with Gartner. It's one of the louder voices, one of the more recognized voices in as far as cloud research is concerned. In Gartner's most recent Magic Quadrant, Accenture was the undisputed leader in managed service providers for cloud infrastructure. So Plus ES did themselves a big favor and ensured that they were covered with the cloud management services from the undisputed leader. And lastly, Plus ES made sure that their Azure Estate was secure from start. What do I mean by that? Accenture has a service called Compliance Watch. And with that service, we ensure that all the cloud estate or the Azure estates are secure from provisioning. We protect, we monitor, and we secure all the Azure estates. And we do that by continuously scanning for vulnerabilities that may exist within the Azure estate. So in summary, if any one of you has any cloud estate that you manage, you want to make sure that you take care of these 4 things so that cloud estate of yours is managed properly in an efficient, optimized, and secure manner. You want to have an industry-grade, enterprise-grade cloud management platform to manage that cloud estate and provide the right governance that's necessary. You want to make sure that you invest in the IP for cloud billing and cloud optimization. You don't want any kind of sticker shock. The third thing that you want to do is you want to ensure that you have seamless CMS, cloud managed services, that will not disrupt your cloud estate in any way. If you have an enterprise cloud estate, you don't want to be managing and doing these CMS services via scripts. And lastly, you want to make sure that your cloud estate is secure from day one. You don't want any kind of breaches, because that's a very tough conversation to have with your leadership team, and depending on the size of your enterprise, very tough conversation to have with any kind of analyst or external media. I'm going to stick around here for if there's any questions. I do appreciate all of you attending my session. Thank you very much. And I'll open it up for any kind of questions if there are any. Yes, the gentleman in the back. Can someone give him a mic, please?
Yeah, hi. So my organization has a large bill that we're having difficulty splitting up into the different business units to show back the costs. Big problem for us. How do you help, or how would you recommend us getting started towards that kind of a show back model?
That's a great question, and that's something that Accenture encounters with multiple clients of multiple sizes. One of the first questions I would ask you is, what type of tagging architecture do you have set up? Do you have a tagging architecture in place?
Maybe. I don't know.
So again, one of the key things that I touched on is, if you don't have a tagging architecture in place that facilitates bill management and cost optimization, you're not going to be able to do any kind of showback or chargeback. Showback, chargeback, from a rudimentary level down to, say, we've helped some of our clients set up a very sophisticated chargeback and showback model down to the app level. So again, that starts with having the right tagging architecture. And if you don't have the right tagging architecture, you're going to fail from day one.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you mentioned that in 4 months you got 34%, and you're going to get to up to 50%. What's that delta? What's happening in the future that you weren't able to do in the first 4 months, or is that just a cumulative savings over time?
So that's a great question as well. So in the first 4 months where we were able to knock out the 34%, there were a lot of low-hanging fruits. Lots of low-hanging fruits, right? We noticed that, they were over-provisioned in the cloud. We noticed a lot of waste. We noticed that they weren't using scheduled operation. So there was some low-hanging fruit there. Now we get to the more sophisticated scenarios where you talk about introducing reserved instances into the infrastructure. And if you selectively, with the right methodology, purchase reserved instances, you're talking about gaining another ROI of 10 to 15%. And one of the benefits because Plus ES is a prime client, whenever Accenture purchases the reserved instances on their behalf, they're not assessed a CapEx charge, which means that the ROI is not going to be eroded because most organizations have an internal cost of capital. So they realize the largest bang, the biggest bang for their buck. So that's how we're getting from 34 to 50.
So can you do this process if you already have an EA in place, enterprise agreement with Azure?
So another good question. Many of our clients have EAs in place, and we are able to help them out. And some of our clients don't have EAs in place. Again, depends on where a particular client is within their cloud journey. So to answer your question, whether they have an EA in place with Microsoft or whether they don't, there are some limiting factors. So if you have an EA in place with Microsoft and you're purchasing the reserved instances, your organization is going to have some rules internally that say, okay, if you purchase an all upfront RI, are you assessed a capital charge or not? And if you are, that's going to erode your ROI a bit. Whereas with Accenture, that's not going to be the case. Okay, so there are some nuances there. Key takeaway is, for the most part, doesn't matter whether you are on your own enterprise agreement or leveraging in the Accenture contracts. We would definitely be able to help you out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me merge these two questions.
Sure.
There was first a question about how do you organize chargeback, and then there was the question about, let's say, or your answer that a lot of optimization is possible with reserved instances. So therefore, my question: how do you organize chargeback of reserved instances, knowing that in fact the advantage of reservation jumps from one VM to another?
I want you to repeat the question one more time.
Sorry. Let's say the complexity of reserved instances is that you do not reserve a machine, but a kind of, let's say, a size. What means whenever this machine is down or whatsoever, another machine of the same size will take it.
Correct.
So what means that, I don't know, the owner of machine 1 has committed for 3 years, I pay now, and the owner of machine 2 gets the advantage.
That's a very good question, very sophisticated, right? So the way we would tackle something like that is, before we even get to the reserved instances, there's a bunch of optimization activities that we can do to make sure that when we do purchase reserved instances, that they are 100% optimal, meaning they're 100% going to be utilized. The inflection point of reserved instances where they become useless or a losing proposition and a fruitful proposition is roughly around 65%. So if we can get the reserved instance allocated for 65% of the time, that's a useful pursuit. Furthermore, to your specific questions, those details, whether the reserved instance is being applied either to owner A or owner B, those details come through in the billing file. For Azure, those details, as far as the reserved instance and where it's applied, right, usually are in the billing file. And based on the way the tagging is structured, we can say very clearly which owner is getting the benefit. So at the end of the month, based on the tagging schema, we are able to say, oh, application owner A, here's the total that you've spent, versus application owner B, here's the total that you've spent.
Okay. I have a deeper look. Thank you.
Sure.
My name is Maurice. I have two questions for you.
Sure, Maurice.
How does your Accenture cloud platform compare to the Movir solution, which is available? And second, how do you charge your clients for your services? Is it based off of the savings you generate? Is it a fixed fee? How is that built up?
The first question, how does the Accenture cloud platform compare to another solution, Movir, that you mentioned?
Movir, yes.
That's not a specific solution that I've heard of. Accenture does have a competitive analysis that we do of our cloud management platform. And part of the Gartner quadrant, the magic quadrant that was revealed, that said Accenture is the undisputed leader in managed service providers for public cloud infrastructure. The way we deliver our managed services, antivirus, patching, backup, security, that's through our CMP. That's through our cloud management platform. The way we do our billing, the way we manage our billing for our clients is through our CMP. So the question that I would ask is, what type of scale has Movir